You're watching Extras from the Extension on Eagle Community Television.
Hello, I'm Stacy Campbell with K-State Research and Extension of Ellis County. Well, this year the wheat crop in Ellis County, and as a matter of fact in about the western half of the state, has experienced a lot of what we call wheat mosaic, or that's what's commonly referred to as a viral disease that can be transmitted into our wheat by the wheat curl mite. There is some other viral diseases that the wheat can be infected with as well that people may not be aware of. The most common one is the wheat streak mosaic virus that we're familiar with and has been around for a long time. But to a lesser degree, there's also a high plains virus and then a triticum mosaic virus. All three of those viral diseases can infect our wheat in the Central Plains growing region. The symptoms of all three of these viruses are similar. They include yellowing, desiccation of the foliage, and even leaf death. Stunning of the plants can occur, especially if the plants got the viral infection in the fall. There can be significant stunning and even a total loss of the crop with a fall infection of one of these wheat viruses. If it's a spring infection, it may be to a lesser degree affecting the yield, but it still can. If it's a fairly late spring infection, the yield reduction may be fairly insignificant. As I had mentioned, all three of these viruses are transmitted by the wheat curl mite. The wheat curl mite is a very tiny little mite. It's 1/100th inch long. It's sausage shaped. You can only see it with about a 20x magnification hand lens. It also stays protected in the plant, in the curl of the leaf or down in the whorl of the plant. Volunteer wheat is the most epidemiological source of both wheat streak mosaic virus and the wheat curl mite vector. Native or grassy weeds do not appear significant in developing large-scale epidemics of wheat viruses, but may be important in small local outbreaks. They may also be important in preserving mites and virus during adverse conditions. As I had mentioned, there are other plants that can serve as a host to the wheat curl mite. It does prefer wheat the most, but corn, volunteer oats, volunteer rye, and barley, and several grassy weedy species also can be a host plant for the wheat curl mite. So limiting the losses of mosaic or wheat viruses to our wheat crop has to be done by limiting the wheat curl mite. Basically, we have to break what we call that green bridge. They need green live tissue to survive on. So if all the volunteer wheat is destroyed before we plant, at least 2 weeks, preferably before, that can really help in reducing the amount of wheat viruses that we can have in our crop the following year. Something else important to remember is we won't really see these viruses showing up on plants until in the spring when it starts warming up. Now, there are a few wheat varieties that have some resistance, and they've been working on it at the experiment station in Hayes quite a bit, that have resistance to wheat streak mosaic virus. Now, keep in mind that there are 2 other viruses out there. So if we were to plant one of those wheat varieties that has resistance to wheat streak mosaic virus, keep in mind there are 2 other viral diseases that can also affect the plant. So it doesn't mean that you can just completely get away with not having any problem with a wheat virus by having one of those varieties that does have resistance to wheat streak mosaic virus. Also, some of that resistance in these wheat varieties to the wheat streak mosaic virus is temperature sensitive. Once it starts warming up in the spring and your average daytime and nighttime temperatures get above 70 degrees, there are a few varieties that resistance starts breaking down on, such as one of them is called Clara, that was developed here at the Hayes Ag Experiment Station. So the important thing to remember is when we talk about wheat mosaic, or there is other wheat viruses that affect our crop. The main one is wheat streak mosaic virus. Secondly is the triticum mosaic virus, and to a lesser degree, the high plains virus. And the important thing to remember is That virus is vectored or carried by the wheat curl mite that has to have green living tissue to survive on. It prefers volunteer wheat, but it can survive on some other plants such as corn, volunteer oats, rye, barley, several weedy grasses it can survive on, or grasses that it can survive on as well. Well, this has been Stacy Campbell with K-State Research and Extension of Ellis County with Eagle Community Television.
You're watching extras from the Extension on Eagle Community Television.